Hello, everyone. I did not have an opportunity to listen to all the things that were stated by the representative of Israel. But let me just respond to the speech of Prime Minister Netanyahu on the issue of the Goldstone report. The first thing that he said is that the advancement of the Goldstone report would jeopardize the peace process. This is a fallacious assumption because upholding international law, especially international humanitarian law, is in fact would be advancing the peace process, not the contrary. The culture of impunity and disrespect to international law and international humanitarian law would not advance the peace process. The second thing that he said is that the adoption of the Goldstone report would give a free hand to all those terrorist groups and organizations and would be a threat to member states. This is also another wrong thing. Upholding international law and upholding international humanitarian law would strengthen the hand of all of us and all states in cornering terrorist groups and terrorist organizations. In fact, if you do not respect international law and international humanitarian law, which are the key foundations of the report of Goldstone, then you would give the strongest argument and justification to the terrorists in order to advance their project, not the other way around. And the last thing that he said, that this report is threatening the right of Israel to defend itself. That the self-defense of any country does not give justification to anyone to violate international law, to violate international humanitarian law, to go and kill and wound in wholesale thousands of Palestinian civilians. There is no justification whatsoever, even under the pretext of self-defense, to go and collectively punish an entire people of 1.5 million people in the Gaza Strip. So therefore, as you see, all of the arguments of the Israeli side, including the argument of the Prime Minister in fighting against Goldstone, are weak arguments. And he stated also that he will not allow any Israeli soldier or officer to be tried in any place other Israeli courts for whatever violations they have committed. We started the process some time ago of negating the culture of impunity and replacing it with the culture of holding people responsible and accountability, those who committed crimes, Israeli soldiers, Israeli officers, Israeli leaders. We will continue to be after them, not only alone as Palestinians, but with all those who care about international law, international humanitarian law, all of us in the UN system, in all political groups, until we bring those criminals to face justice, those who killed Palestinian civilians, women and men. I just wanted to share these things with you. Yes, sir.
Please, the Israeli ambassador just said right now that they do not envisage resuming peace process with the Palestinians if you insist on raising the issue of the Goldstone report. And the second thing, Mr. Malk, what's your reaction to that? And the second issue is Mr. Malki said inside you the Palestinians will also make investigations into the Goldstone allegations. How will you do this when you don't have control over Gaza, sir?
Regarding the first issue, the record of Israel is clear. They are working against the peace process for so many years. In fact, who is responsible for not allowing the Annapolis process to reach what we were promised, meaning a peace treaty by the end of the year 2008? It was the action of the Israeli government, the previous one and the current one, in refusing to abide by their obligation under the roadmap. They continued with settlement activities. In fact, during the year of Annapolis, settlement activities increased by 17 folds. The fact that the current Israeli government is refusing to come into compliance with the global consensus, including the Americans with us, in demanding from them to meet their obligation and to stop settlement activities, are truly the sabotage of the peace process. So therefore, it is not the Goldstone report. It is their behavior and their insistence not to meet their obligations under the roadmap, under Security Council resolutions, and as long as they continue with this process, the peace process will not move. As long as they continue with these actions, the peace process will not move forward. Now, the Goldstone report is a very bold and courageous and report that no one can question the integrity of the team led by Justice Goldstone, who is Jewish, who is Zionist, and nobody is questioning their integrity and their sincerity, including even the spokesperson of the State Department of the United States of America. They did not question the integrity of the team. And in fact, when he took this exercise, he expanded the mandate of the Council on Human Rights by investigating the behavior of all sides, not only the Israeli behavior. And his report is very comprehensive, is very thorough, that covers everything. With regard to us, we always say we uphold international law, including international humanitarian law. And our brothers in Hamas, they've stated more than once that they will look into what is required from them in order to allow the domestic legal system of the Palestinian side to examine these allegations. And if there are crimes committed, I am sure that in our own legal system, we will deal with it.
Mr. Ambassador, what do you think about Mr. Ban Ki-moon's statement that he would like to see consensus regarding this report, Goldstone report, not through justice or through tribunals?
We believe that there should be consensus, because we should not have disagreement in the UN system in upholding international law and international humanitarian law. This is a very thorough, very objective report that dealt with all the issues in a limited way, but all the issues of the 37 incidents that they investigated. And there should not be disagreement among all members of the United Nations in terms of upholding international law and international humanitarian law. So therefore, in that sense, all of us should support the report and should allow it to come to all parts of the UN system, the Security Council, the General Assembly, the International Criminal Court, the high contracting parties of the Fourth Geneva Convention, and we should allow justice to prevail. The culture of impunity that Israel allowed Israel to get away with murder for the last 60 years is no more. We are entering a new culture of accountability, and this process is not a short process. It's a long process, but we are all determined to defend international law, international humanitarian law, and to bring the criminals to face justice. Thank you very much.
Ambassador, will you insist at the Human Rights Council that there will be full acceptance of the Goldstone report? Because some of the Europeans say that they might abstain.
There is a draft resolution before the Human Rights Council, and I believe that either tomorrow or by